Kiya Podcast would like to acknowledge that this episode was recorded on Whadjuk land of the Noongar people. We recognise our First Nations people as the traditional custodians of the land, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present and future.
I told her, I was like, bro, I need to go to the toilet right now. You need to take me back in the shore so I can, do my thing. And,
so
she
go.
That's it. She thought it was all a joke. And so I jumped off the board and attempted to swim back, but it was like a 70, 80 metre swim. And the forces of freestyle were just not accommodating to the forces within my stomach. And all of a sudden, I was back at the board and I was like, please, you need to take me in. All of a sudden.
All right, so Kiya Wanju, hello and welcome to the Kiya Podcast. As you know from other episodes, the reason of this podcast is interviewing and saying hello to heaps of amazing people, not only in the indigenous community, but in the community in itself, that are doing great things, that are constantly, doing great things without needing or having any recognition. And today's guest is, I know I say this for a lot of my guests and pretty much all of my guests, but I truly mean it. He is the definition of why I've started this podcast, of the things that he's doing in the community and the impact that he has on other people's lives, both older, younger, and even the same age. He is a trendsetter. He is also a big lovely sing. So can I welcome Boston Fitch to the podcast? Hello, Boston. How are you, mate?
Hey, mate. Thanks for that generous intro. Man, good.
No, you deserve it. You deserve all the flowers that I can give you, man.
I don't know about that, but no, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you. So how was Gold Coast? I understand you just got back from Gold Coast. We was on that trip together. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, it was unreal. Feeling pretty jet lagged still and recovering, but an unbelievable tournament, some great success stories, but just being together with people and having a great time. So, It was awesome.
No, that's wicked, man. So we got a couple quick questions for you. So obviously, you're involved with BINA. You obviously was brought on as a competitions manager, and it's involved in there. The initial concept was to be a competitions manager, and it's grown from there. So what did you how was that going into it? Did you expect a certain role and then now something different?
Jumped on board with BINA probably about 6 months ago as the competitions manager. We've just been licensed to run our own domestic comp out of Swan Active Midland in April 2024, which is really exciting. But the last probably 6 months, like I said, has just been a bit of everything for me. So while the job title is competitions manager, it's a bit of a gap fill, or just about a bit of everything. So I'm loving what I'm doing and having so much fun. So it's good.
Yeah, that's it. You're so much more. You get that. You've got that older brother type role on the team that a lot of the kids look up to. And when I say on the team, I mean on the behind the scenes team as well, not just what happens on the court and then in the competition. So where were you before BINA, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, you're right. Worked with the Warwick Senators in their competitions space. Initially did 6 months of uni, was gassed from studying at school, and so decided to take a break and take on some work with Warwick, and really enjoyed my time there. And then obviously the opportunity to work with BINA came up, and jumped at it with, I intend to go back to university eventually and study a social work degree. The intent was to actually do that 6 months ago on top of working with BINA, but I'm having too much fun at the moment, and so that's been put on pause, and just doing my thing with BINA. It's great.
That's it. So you chose happiness, eh?
That's it. Absolutely.
No, that's it. And so obviously did you make the connection with BINA through working at Warwick, just seeing the BINA model, because how involved BINA is, not just at Warwick competition, but everywhere. BINA has a lot of teams, and Adam Desmond and Effie Garlett, they're very mobile people. They're here, there, and everywhere. Is that how you made that connection, or was it just from being lovely and on a modelling ad and they seen you or something?
Yeah, it was a model. I was a model. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
No, my dad actually ran his own charity. Started up a charity called 12 Buckets, which is still going strong in a number of schools. Similar to Bina in working with disadvantaged youth. And Dad and Adam became connected through Warwick. And this was probably, I reckon, 5-6 years ago. And then I jumped on board as a volunteer in an ICBL competition probably 3 years back. And here I am today, through working at Warwick and, as a receptionist when I was, 16, 17 on a Friday night, and being involved with the Bina community, through working over the counter at Warwick and playing some games and having some fun with the kids and trying to keep them occupied while older brothers, cousins, whatever, are playing at 9 o'clock. So, that's kind of where my journey began. Dad made that connection with Adam, and then I kind of got involved through some of the work with Warwick. Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. And so, you kind of naturally took on that leadership role. Were you always that sort of leader with kids and community? Like, you obviously seen these kids, need something to do and need, someone to be around them, or just to guide them whilst they're there for that 40-minute basketball game. Have you always been like that, or is that like a trait that you adopted when you got older?
No, I think being brought up in really loving household, mum and dad, have a similar heart for people, and just love community. And I think growing up in that space and that home environment, it's just been a natural thing for me growing up and being around that. And so I've got to give credit where credit's due, and I think mum and dad have done. I've adopted certainly that heart for people and community through them, and so I think it just comes naturally for me, and I'm very blessed for that.
Yeah, very, very wonderful people too. Like, I want to give a quick shout out to your dad, because I remember at your birthday he did a very good acknowledgement to country where everyone kind of gave a big standing ovation to. Because of how good, and I think Adam still talks about, and when I say Adam, I mean Adam Desmond, the founder of Bina, who obviously is your boss and your dad. Who we've had on the podcast before. We talked about how Bina was founded and all this stuff, but if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But back to what I was saying, that's something that really resonated with him, and we kind of found the impact of not just Bina but indigenous families, not only what you've had on Bina and our indigenous family, but what that impact has had on you guys and how you're able to bring a little bit of our culture home with you each time. I think that's been awesome, because you're really open and accepting of that. That's something I really noticed.
Absolutely. Like, I think even in friendship circles and whatnot, I certainly carry my work with me. Like, there's an excitement about the stuff that I'm able to do, and some of the conversations that I'm even able to have with mates, and just really grateful to be in the space that I am, and then also to be able to share some of the stories and some of my learnings with not just family but friends as well. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. So speaking of stories and sharing some stories, what's your most enjoyable memory with Bina? Like, obviously there would be so much. Like, for example, coaching with Coach Iz. I understand he's a really good coach. You got a great relationship with him. Is it the coffees? Is it the after training coffees or after clinics coffees? Is it the late nights? Because I understand even on Friday, Saturday nights you're still working. What's like probably one of your most enjoyable memories?
Oh, there's lots. There's so many good stories. I think it's a bit general, but I just think some of the people that I've had the privilege in meeting, and some of the connections that I've made, has just been so amazing. And just through those connections and through those people, the learning that I've, that's been able to take place for me, like I just feel, so fortunate to be able to do what I do. Like, it's not very often that you get to love working. Like, I genuinely love working, and I'm grateful to be in the space. I think, some of the regional camps that we've done, to Leonora, or even, to Bunbury and stuff like that, and, making connections with some of the communities down there and taking away some learnings from how they operate and the way that they engage and work in those communities is really special. But it's hard to pinpoint one. Like, there's just so many good things that I've been able to take part in, and very, very grateful.
Yeah. Well, the first one for me that comes to mind when I think of what one of Boston's, I wouldn't say, because the question was most enjoyable memory. I don't think it was enjoyable for you, but it's definitely one that stuck with. So we, it was the day of, wasn't it? The day of the under-17s gold medal match.
Okay.
And we're playing a team. We're playing a team that beat us in the round one. It's the gold medal match. It's what we came to do, right? And then that mid morning, I'm in my room and I hear all the kids laughing and giggling and like exciting. And then one of them comes in and goes, have you seen Boston's room? And I was like, no, I haven't seen his room. What happened? And I walked in, and I'll skip ahead. You came down the hallway, and I turned to a couple of the boys and I went, "Oh, you be prepared." And then what? You take it away. You take it away. You tell the rest.
Yeah,
No. Let me tell it. No. Okay, you tell it.
Okay, whatever. Look, I'm going to try and dramatize it as much as I can for your listeners. They said come on a blackfella camp. They said it was going to be fun. They said they'd take care of me. I'm walking down the hallway, and it's almost like it's all the boys from all the different states, like that made an arch, and I'm basically walking through the arch to my room, cameras out, and I knew that I was in for some trouble, and they'd completely flipped my room, suitcase on the roof, my mattress, it was on the roof, sheets stripped, clothes everywhere, jocks hanging like a flag, it was... I felt the love from all the states. Let's say that. And
just the fact that South Australia, Victoria, WA just all came together just to mess with you.
Yeah, that's it. I'm glad that they were able to connect and that friendships were built over that.
At your expense.
It was at my expense.
Yeah. So all I see is you walk in, see the room, and you turn to me immediately, and you're like, "What did you do?" I was like, hey, this wasn't me. I swear, I wish it was. It wasn't me, I promise.
Yeah, I came at you hard. I do apologise.
Yeah.
I to this day, I do think that there was some involvement from you.
I was genuinely scared. I didn't. This is the one time I actually didn't do anything. But yeah, the next question is, what's your greatest coaching experience? I can't imagine it being your bed being flipped, but... what's your greatest coaching experience? Because you are a very credited coach. Like, you've coached at state champs a lot. Obviously you've got your experience with Warwick and experience with Binna as well. So, and in my opinion, in my honest opinion, you're one of the best, if not the best coach in our state that we've got. And that was evident over. Yeah. Give the round of applause to that. Because it was also evident at the First Nations Championships that we just came from, where, other girls and boys from other states are recognising how great of a coach you are. What's your greatest coaching experience?
I'm grateful for that rap. Thank you. Very generous. Look, there's a couple that come to mind. I think, winning gold at the 17 and under Indigenous national tournament with you. I think that was unreal, and I think just the whole storyline of the whole week as well, and how it unfolded in dropping our first game, almost dropping our second game, relying on an overtime win to qualify for medal matches, and then to knock off a very good New South Wales team in a semi-final, and then to go on and win gold against the team that knocked us off in that round one loss, and to do it in the fashion that we did, in coming back in the last quarter and hitting big shots down the stretch. I think that's always going to stick with me. Yeah. I coached the under-15 Binar boys at state champs just gone, and happened to knock off one of the Warwick teams in a semi-final. Yeah. And that team planning on hopefully grading into Division 1 for WABL next season, and we're beating everyone by 40 in their pool games, and it was just one of the games that you're not supposed to win.
Yeah.
And we were just around the mark the whole game, stayed with them, and then down by 6 points with 18 seconds to go, and we clutched up with 2-and-1 plays.
Far out.
And we're just able to get over the line.
And these are teams like, because I know Binna has a couple restrictions when going into state champs of, all right, if they play for a WABL side, they're not allowed to play for Binna, or?
Yeah, correct. So part of our participation in state champs is, WABL players, we want them to play for their, home associations, home club associations. And so there are restrictions in place that disallow us from having WABL athletes from the previous season. So all the boys that played for us in that under-15s team, had no WABL experience. And a couple of them had tried out for some clubs and got cut. So I think, with those stories and to be playing in a good division, Division 3 with some really great teams as well. And to be able to compete, but also to, knock off, Warwick in that semi-final. It was just crazy for those boys, and something I'm sure that, certainly I will, just cherish that memory for a long time in that game. So, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just putting A and B together, you're putting together a domestic team. On paper, obviously these kids are more than good enough to be in the WABL system, but you're putting together a domestic team going up against WABL players with a WABL affiliated club, and you're either pumping them or you're beating them in a semi-final where it's meant to be a high stress game, and they're under 15. So that's bloody amazing, especially with the restrictions and being able to bring everybody together like that. Like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was unreal. Like, it was just, footy players that are playing in the off season, or, like the untapped natural talent from, domestic, and, just natural athletes that either haven't been given an opportunity, or, there's just barriers in place that prevent them from being able to succeed at that level. And I mean, that's why BNI exists, right? Like, just to give kids like that a go and an opportunity. And for some of the success stories that came out of state champs was really special.
Yeah, like that's it. Like Adam Desmond said, BNI just started as a group of kids that wanted to play basketball, together, that needed a lift to play basketball together, and a team, and to cover fees and something like that, to kind of bring everyone together. And this is kind of the flower effect that it's grown into. So that was like the seed that Binna was planted on, and it just so happens that now, because it's grown so much, and obviously Adam's grown as a person, Binna's grown as an organisation, the players, that were at that seed have now grown into great coaches and elite players themselves. A lot of people often forget that Binna is family founded, comes from that small place of just getting the kids to play basketball, and once they get into a high level, it's like, all right, now let's let them flourish at it. And that's something that you're able to do as a coach and bring to the table as well. Like, your experience as a coach is not only beneficial to the kids, but to people like myself, to people that are around you that's wanting to coach more. We're learning from you. you're setting the example for not only the kids but for us as well. And I think that's freaking awesome. And I really do take my hat off to you, which is why I didn't wear a hat for the interview. Was to, you know, give you your flowers. And so just shifting, how has Indigenous culture like impacted your family? Like we said before, with your dad giving an acknowledgement to country, you know, you're pretty much doing cultural awareness training at home. So great job, mate. How has that, you know, impacted your family? Because believe me, we know how you've impacted, you know, the Indigenous community and our families. What about yourself?
Yeah, it's, you know, like I said, I take my work home with me, and in the conversations that I'm able to have with family and friends. I grew up in the church, and some fond memories that I have is, you know, after church going across the road with Dad, and it would take the guitar and we'd just have a sing along with some of the, you know, Indigenous communities down at the park. So actually, I've always had a connection to Indigenous people, like our family has as well. But I think obviously being in it and working in it, it feels like 24/7, and I love it. You know, there's so much more learning that I've, you know, that's been able to take place for me. And yeah, certainly been able to share some rich stories with my family as well, and help them have a deeper understanding about, you know, how communities and the culture works. And I think of, you know, my brother in particular who, you know, lost his enjoyment for basketball a little bit. You know, he played at the state level, WABL, and, you know, is now playing football. But, you know, his connection with Binna, you know, just invited him along to have a run with some of the boys, and he's rediscovered his love for the game of basketball. He was wanting to come on an Albany camp in January that we're taking kids to, like, and for him as well, just making some really great mates with some of the Binna boys, and I think, you know, was able to play with them at state champs and stuff like that. So I think that's been really special for me to watch, you know, is him also just to be able to create, you know, his own identity in that in that culture and in that space, and for him to also be in his own journey of learning and making friends and connections with people. It's really cool.
That's right. Yeah, that is really cool. So you're able to, you know, kind of understand those tough conversations of you know, what Indigenous people have to go through with intergenerational trauma, with, you know, both internal racism between, you know, in different Indigenous people, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of the times, you know, even like subliminal stuff, like, oh, they're from this country or they're from thing, you know, that often gets overlooked. That's still, you know, racism in itself, not just black or white. And then you've got external racism that you're able to have a deeper understanding of, you know, what something may seem, you know, as a little bit racist. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember one time you came up to me and was like, that was a little bit thing. And I was like, hey, shit, it happens. But yeah, that's something that not a lot of people get to experience and get to understand, because obviously, you know, you kind of see things in a different light than the average bear, which I think
that's
is
it.
awesome.
Like, I think, you know, history lessons at school or at university can teach you so much, but I think being in the space and sharing in those lived experiences is, like, you know, just unreal. So I think the lived experiences for me has really taught me invaluable lessons, and has certainly shaped me into, I'd hope, you know, a more loving and understanding and kind person. So, yeah, it's the lived experiences that offer so much.
Damn, great.
Stop making faces at me.
Damn, great answer. You're just dropping gold mines, little gold pieces here and there. Before I move on, how can you get to be a nicer, more person? Like, you're already as nice as it is. Just shut up. Second of all, so we talked about that. So would you choose Warwick or Binna?
Oh, don't do that to me. Not on a podcast, bro.
You can plead the fifth, but I thought I'll just throw it out there.
Oh, you're an awful person. Look, I throw myself into everything that I do. So if I'm working for Binar, everything I'm doing is I'm pouring everything into that. So there you go. That's my answer.
And we'll leave it at there. Also, do you use a washcloth or a loofah?
That's a great question as well. I'm going to use my lifeline and call a friend.
You're going to call a friend?
Yeah, if I could.
Who are we calling?
Eric Paul Goldie.
Eric Paul Goldie? Yeah, we can give him a call. Hold on, I'll just see if he's going to pick up. Hello,
Good
Eric.
afternoon. This is Paulie.
Oh, hey, Paulie. How you doing, mate?
Fantastic.
I've got Boston Fitch on the line. You're actually his lifeline call. Are you able to have 5 minutes to answer this question?
I can very quickly answer the question.
I'll repeat the question. You have 30 seconds to give your answer, and then we'll put it straight back on Boston. So, Boston, can you please repeat the question to Eric Paul Goldie for us?
I'd rather it come from you, mate. I think that's your job. You're the interviewer.
Oh, I'm actually the host. I'm getting word from Hara. Okay. Washcloth or loofah? Washcloth or loofah?
5 seconds. There's a slight delay on the telephone line. Slight delay on the telephone line. Sorry, 1 sec.
Boom, 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 boom. He's feeling the pressure. I think he's feeling the pressure.
He is. He's doing his research.
Okay, just repeat the question one last time.
So the question for Boston was washcloth or loofah?
Oh, he's a loofah.
He's a loofah?
He's a loofah guy.
Loofah, Boston?
Very classy loofah. A very classy loofah.
Very good.
I use a pink loofah.
You use a pink loofah?
That's correct. A pink loofah, that's it.
Well, how come last time I seen it was brown? So that was that one. Speaking of brown, you have one more story that I absolutely love. And it's not coming from me. It came from an external source that he remains nameless. He's going to remain nameless. But you have a story. When you got to go, Boston, you got to go. Hey, when it's time to go, it's time to go. Paddleboarding. So, did you have to go whilst paddleboarding?
That's it. Yeah, I did. I was on a family holiday, and it's actually a paid-for holiday by one of our family friends for their for the mum's 50th, and we were paddling on this beautiful resort river, and I had the urge to go to the toilet.
Wait, number ones or twos?
Number two. There's no shame in jumping in the river and chucking a piss, but there is shame.
Everyone does that. That's a Saturday.
That's it. That is just every day. I was on the paddleboard with at the time, she's a 19-year-old girl, like family friend, and I told her, I was like, bro, like I need to go to the toilet right now. You need to take me back in the shore so I can do my thing. And
so she go.
That's it. She thought it was all a joke, and so I jumped off the board and attempted to swim back, but it was like a 70-80 meter swim, and the forces of freestyle were just not accommodating to the forces within my stomach, and all of a sudden, I was back at the board, and I was like, please, like, you need to take me in. Like, all of a sudden, her legs are dangling underneath the board, pants come off, and I start,
When did you realize? When did you realize, like, then that, like, I just got to get it out?
Yeah, I was. She was laughing. She thought it was all a joke. I was laughing again. Just like those forces were just not helping, and I was like, "Well, we're here now. It's just going to happen. It's coming." Pants came off, and I was taking a dump in the lake, and then hoping that it wouldn't float, and then all of a sudden,
no,
right. Oh yeah, like
did
she
it
just
float?
starts. She just like is on the board standing. She's like, and there's like that look of shock and absolute horror as his thing just floats to the surface.
I'm sorry.
Like, what? Like, I look next to me and there it is, you know.
And then the big brown shark came.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it wasn't great.
I didn't think it. I heard the story from yourself before, but I didn't think it floated. I thought it. I didn't think she'd seen it.
It was a floater,
mate.
Like
that's the story. Like the it's tough to just fart in front of someone that you've just met, and not just met, but like really, you'll just let one go.
Oh, absolutely, and then blame it on someone else.
But just blame it on me. I do the fake cough. I'll do the.
Who done that?
I'll do the. Sorry, I got a cough. I got it. But no, that is one of my favourite stories of all time. But it definitely, you're not the type of person to, as the expression goes, shit the bed, or in your case, shit the river. I don't want this story to be a reflection of you, but I had to ask you on camera. I had to rehear it because you find out more and more. There's probably more to that story that I don't know, like that it floats.
Yeah, like own your story. Right?
Own your story.
And that is my story right there.
Oh, far out, Boston. No, but thank you so much. If I can leave you with one thing is, obviously you're always going to be yourself. I found that about you. You're very true to yourself as a person, and as a man, as a basketball coach, even on the court, there's times where you're like, hey, we should be doing this, and it's like you stick to your guns no matter what. So if there's something that I leave you with, there's only a few times in a man's life. I think the saying goes like 3 times where they get flowers. Like one of the times is graduation, a funeral, and a wedding. I think they're the only 3 times. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it. So we're going to make it a 4th time, and I want to give you your flowers now for the person that you are, what you do for your community, because this is your community. It's not what you do for Indigenous community or what you do for non-Indigenous community. We're all your community because you constantly make an impact on so many people's lives, including my own, just by being yourself. And then the basketball stuff and the coaching stuff and the poo stories, they come along with it. But, thank you so much for, being you, giving up your time to obviously do this episode with me. I think this is one that has been a long time coming without us even knowing about it. Like, it was literally just like, hey, you want to have a convo? Let's do it. And that's what it's about. But thank you so much, man, for joining me today, and make sure you have a wash with your loofah this afternoon. No, but that's it. One more thing. What's in it for the future? Let's manifest right now, because I'm a big thing on manifesting. Before we go, what's the future looking like for Boston Fitch?
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
What do you hope?
I intend to get a social work degree under my belt. Mm-hmm. Who knows where my coaching is going to take me or how far I want to go with that. I'm really enjoying that. I hope to always have an involvement with BINA, whether that's full-time work or volunteering where I can or whatnot. But we'll see. Who knows?
That's it. Who knows? Amazing coach. Like I said, one of the best in the state, if the best in the state, in my opinion. How can people get in contact with you? And how can people get more involved with BINA in what BINA is doing, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous? How can they get involved, and how can they get in contact with the man himself?
Look, follow me on Instagram, mate.
What's your Instagram? Drop your Instagram.
I couldn't even know. I couldn't even tell you right now. Hey, I reckon it's probably like Boston.Fitch.
I'm sure it's like Boston_Fitch. You'd lie.
Yeah, something like that. Nah, I'm always up for a chat. Send me a private message, direct message, whatever. I think there's always need for work, or some help and volunteering and stuff like that, and support with BINA. So I was going to drop Adam Desmond's phone number on, but I don't think he would appreciate that at all. But,
probably not.
But look, I'm always up for a chat. So yeah.
No, awesome, man. Well, I look forward to seeing the magic that you make. And I look forward to episode 2 with Boston Fitch, to having you here on set with me, mate. So until I'm looking at you.
Catch you later, you beautiful thing.
See you later, beautiful. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Love ya. Big thank you to Jilla, purely indigenous, 100% WA indigenous owned, high quality Jilla, pure water and coffee beans products, for sponsoring this episode and being able to supply the water. So Jilla, purely indigenous. Kiya, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this episode with Boston Fitch. Obviously, you would have seen how amazing of a person he is, what he does, and how he conducts himself. Such a beautiful person. So thank you very much for watching. Obviously follow us on Instagram, Kiya_podcast, the Kiya podcast. We're also on TikTok, YouTube and Spotify. So make sure, go in there, have a look, like, share, all that sort of stuff. But also, even feel free to send us a message on who you want to see on this podcast, who you might think will be good, because we're always open. We've got a lot of episodes coming up over this Christmas, New Year's and going into 2024 period. So make sure that you stay tuned in for that. And thank you for listening.